I'm Julie Leverett. I'm the Director of Marketing and Mission. Krista, our marketing manager, set it up, so you're seeing her name, but it's actually me. Welcome, and I see some depositors are joining us. A special welcome to you. We're going to have a short presentation, maybe about 20 to 30 minutes, and then feel free to send questions on the bottom of your screen or raise your hand, and we'd be happy to answer them. So today it is Protecting Your Nest Egg, and with us is Kevin Schwab, who's our Chief Executive Officer, and also Justin Munzel, our Chief Financial Officer. So I'll turn it over to Kevin, and we'll start our presentation.
Hello, everybody. As Julie mentioned, I'm Kevin Schwab, CEO for St. Camillus, and just glad you're on the call today and to go over some items that St. Camillus can offer during these very uncertain times, and kind of go through what a life plan community is, why a life plan community, why you would choose St. Camillus, talk about a little bit our mission and vision. Justin's going to talk a little bit about some items and then come back to talking about some financial security of St. Camillus and then open up for questions. So I hope that sounds good. Hope everyone had a very happy Thanksgiving as well. So can't believe it's December already. But St. Camillus is a life plan community, and so that gets very confusing out there of what that might mean. Well, it's actually a community, residential community that for independent adults age 60 plus that offers more than one level of service. And so at St. Camillus, we offer independent living. You know, the East residents will be independent living as well as San Camilo or the West residents. But we also offer assisted living, skilled nursing, and then memory support assisted living on our campus. But we go even one step further in our life plan community by offering home and community-based services through home care, home health, and some and hospice services all within wherever an individual resides. And so with all those things included, we consider ourselves the most comprehensive life plan community in southeastern Wisconsin, just because we have the full breadth of services to help meet anyone's needs as they arise. Justin, can you flip? Okay, thank you. So why would someone choose a life plan community? Well, you would typically choose a life plan community. A lot of the studies show that people live longer, healthier lives as they enter life plan communities, and research and shows that, that from the Department of Health and Human Services. At St. Camillus, we want to always call it thriving. In a typical environment, residents can engage, socialize with peers, remain active and engaged, obviously outside of a pandemic. Right, we're a little challenged right now, but that's what you would typically see outside of this extraordinary period of time. And the warm, friendly environment, along with the staff, and as well as with neighbors and other people that you can socialize with, creates that positive outlook that helps people with their psychological needs as well as their physical needs to help people live longer. And so we focus on the wellness, the whole person wellness, with healthy meals, strong community purpose, and each residence, we try and help them find their fullest and highest potential, whatever they seek. So we take a lot of input from residents and kind of focus a lot of educational materials, activities around people's needs and as they change as well. Justin? So why would you choose St. Camillus? Well, it matters where you choose, which life plan community you would want to live in. By staying in control of your future, you have the plan in place and allows you to make the important decisions about where you live and who and where you will receive your health needs as they grow. You remain in the driver's seat, always in an environment like St. Camillus. That's why it's called life plan. The planning part of the life planning community is that you get to plan what happens, and you get to plan the future, and where you spend your time, where you spend your your life and where you receive that care as well. And family members often feel very secure when an individual is in a life plan community because they know that their loved ones' needs are going to be met in a safe and loving community. They know that when they visit, they can spend more quality time rather than helping with assistance and so forth, or worrying about the mom and dad, their loved ones' health. So that's very important as well. And then, with that all comes with a newfound peace of mind for both the resident and as well as the family, because they know, they're spending more quality time together rather than, like I said, all the worry and really trying to solve problems. They're able to spend that special time with each other. And there's that security, knowing that they can remain in the community as their needs grow, right? So as someone might need more care or might need to have a trip to rehab, they know that they can stay within the same community and come back to their apartment, and they're very familiar with the surroundings, and so that's very helpful as well. And the financial viability of a community is also important to consider. Where you spend your years in a life plan community, you want to make sure it's sustainable and it's been there for a long time. I think that's important as you consider where you want to spend that time as well. You want to ensure the life plan community is considered well managed and in good financial standing, which we'll talk about later on in the presentation, which I believe are both of those things. And our residents at St. Camillus, they do their research and they find that the reputation and stability of the community are the foundation that led them to St. Camillus. And I think when they come here, they even find that even in abundance as well. And just to give you an example, St. Camillus has been serving the community for I think now over 90 years, if I look back at the numbers, but it's just around that 90-year mark that we've been celebrating in Wauwatosa on this very campus. And so our mission statement is very important. It's given to us by our sponsor, which is a Roman Catholic Order of Priests and Brothers of St. Camillus. Like I said, it's been here since the 1930s. Actually, the Camillians have been in the United States since 1921, and it's all based on the saying, "The poor and the sick are the heart of God. By serving them, we serve Jesus the Christ." That's words from St. Camillus from his lifespan, which was 1550 to 1614. But our mission statement says that by providing services to the poor, the sick, and the elderly, with a sense of compassion and love, St. Camillus campus offers hope and meaning to those who are suffering, comfort and security to those who are aging, and serenity to those who are dying, taking into account each person's innate dignity, unique needs, and God-given rights. And then our vision, vision statement that we put together a few years ago, is basically a roadmap of where we want to get to and what do we want to become. And it's founded into that St. Camillus will become a nationally recognized life plan community by achieving the highest levels of healthcare quality, sharing knowledge and best practices, and delivering exceptional experiences to help individuals achieve their life goals. And then that was what was founded out of that is our vision campaign slogan, I'll call it, which is tradition, in that we've been, it's from our founder, St. Camillus, and the long spirited history of the order, as well as the long history of the campus here since the 1930s. It comes from compassion, where we offer the health, comfort, and hope to individuals through God's work. And then innovation, as we strive to become the center of new knowledge and adapting of best practices and technology to help individuals live a holistic life. And as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, that St. Camillus, we do consider ourselves the most comprehensive life plan community. We're committed to our residents and are the only life plan community in Wisconsin to state in our residency agreement that once a resident, always a resident. And so our foundation, which we have, provides benevolent care if a resident's funds ever run out. So we provide that, we cover all the what ifs of the future. We make sure that if an individual's money does run out, we will not discharge for inability to pay. And we take that vow seriously, and we work with individuals as that time comes. And then and we promise that, like I said, you'll never be discharged in the future, because it's a very unknown point in time, and we just make sure that when you come into St. Camillus, you do have some resources to pay for years, but if that time would come that you would run out, that you have some security knowing that you have a place to live. So I'm going to turn it over to Justin. Justin Munz, our CFO, to talk about a few things as well.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, so just a quick agenda here. I'm going to just touch upon the monthly fees. So there are options and refundability with the entrance fees, and then real quickly, just a question that we've had in the past. What is a life plan community versus a life care community? So monthly fees. Some of this is a little bit of repeat if any of you were on another presentation that we gave, I think back in July, but want to touch upon a couple different things. So, the monthly fees that we have, all this is kind of going back to the title, protecting your nest egg. So, how do we determine these monthly fees? First of all, we want to make sure that these monthly fees are appropriate based upon the units we have, based upon what we're seeing in the marketplace with other senior living communities, and then of course making sure that the fees can meet the requirements of the financial covenants that we have. I think as Kevin mentioned, St. Camillus is a very financially strong institution. We feel we're going to be around for a very long time to be able to take care of the residents within our community and future residents, and we make sure that we do our pricing so that we can stay that way. You may have seen this before. It's not really necessarily important to kind of see what the monthly fees are, but this is kind of a mix of what our current independent living mix is. You can see the monthly fees there. And then just for purposes of comparing kind of the new product to what we currently offer, we projected out into the bottom here in the blue section what those fees in our current independent living product would be when we project our new East residents to open up. Again, not really completely important what the fees are here. Just want to kind of show you what that is. Same thing here for our East residents. This is the proposed pricing that we've had for several years, getting a little bit closer to it now, which is very exciting. But just kind of pointing out that we do price ours on a per square foot basis for both the monthly fee and the entrance fee basis. And then this was just the present value kind of back in today's dollars to kind of compare to our current product as well. So really kind of what we want to touch upon here again is, protecting your nest egg. So what is all included in that monthly fee? I've had conversations with individuals who say, gosh, comparing that to what my mortgage is, it's the monthly fees are quite a bit higher. But I think it's really important to look at kind of what's all inclusive in our fees here. And then in a slide or two here, we'll show you kind of what goes away when you do move into our independent living. So what's included in the monthly fee, I would say it's the room and board for the particular unit, but it goes quite a bit beyond that. Access to all the common space and amenities, and I can't quote exactly how much common space we have, but it's in the hundreds of thousands. It's a significant amount of common space and amenities, and that will be growing as we open the new building in early 22. It's housekeeping twice per month, apartment maintenance, all the utilities are included, wellness services, security, outdoor parking. And one of the things that we do include here is 30 days of nursing care. We call them San Camilo days, but if something happens where you have to go over into the skilled nursing for up to 30 days, that is included in your rate free of charge for those first 30 days. And then priority access to other areas of the continuum. There are times where we're fully committed and have a pretty large wait list within assisted living or memory care skilled, and we would give priority access to our current independent living residents. So this is kind of what I really wanted to touch upon this slide here, looking at the monthly fee and kind of what goes away. All those additional costs that you're having maybe out in the community, a lot of these are baked into our monthly fees, so you're not having to worry about those. And that goes for things like property taxes, the utilities, which I mentioned. A lot of these other things you can kind of see here, repairs of your house that come unexpected. It always seems to be, during the most cold time of the year that your furnace goes out. We have people that take care of that and backup systems that make sure that those keep running, so you're not having to worry about that. And you can kind of see the list here: our wellness services, dining services right within, and then less costly cable television and internet. I know myself at home, that bill kind of adds up fairly quickly. We do have lower cost options that we can spread out through the community as well. So when you kind of compare those costs, you really have to consider the fact that, just using some example numbers here, you could save somewhere between $1,500 to $2,000 in costs that normally you would be paying for separately outside of maybe your standard mortgage or rent in the community. Some entrance fee options. So right now we have one main option, but we're looking at potential other options. And so for our current option is a 90% refundable entrance fee. So again, I think the biggest part when you talk about protecting your nest egg, and I do have another slide, is that no matter what happens in the market, you are guaranteed to get 90% of that entrance fee back. And that's, something that we hold that for you. Even if the market crashes like it did in 2000, home values go down, you're still getting 90%. It's not contingent upon the value going up or down. That other 10% that's non-refundable, that typically goes towards refurbing the units, bringing up to speed for the future residents, or bringing it up to the condition that it was when the independent living person moved in. Our entrance fees here, I think as Kevin mentioned, we try to work with everybody, so our fees can be used for care under certain conditions. And that's when, somebody's lived here, has used up all their funds, maybe run out through no fault of their own. We do get arrangements with certain individuals to start drawing down on their entrance fee at that point to pay for their care. Or let's just say maybe a loved one has moved into assisted living. We'll work with the individual to kind of use those to pay for that. Real quick, just two other options we're considering. Certainly can talk to anybody further on this who might be considering moving into the campus, but potentially lower refundability. So as I mentioned, we're currently 90% refundable, but we're looking at having 75% refundable and 50% refundable entrance fees. So how that would work is you would get a smaller portion of the entrance fee back, and in turn you would pay a lower monthly fee. So as you can kind of see, it goes down from about $4,400 to $3,900 and then $3,100. So it just kind of depends whether you want to pay more in the monthly fee and get less back on the entrance fee, or vice versa. And then another option we've looked at is declining refundability. So maybe it's 90% refundable in the first year, down to 85%, and down to 80% in the third year, and so on. Certainly happy to talk to anybody about that and those options if you'd like. But wanted to kind of run through just a quick case study here, if you will, just to kind of show really how is that nest egg protected when you move in here. Scenario one on the left-hand side just took our current entrance fee from a 2-bedroom traditional, so about $312,000. So no matter when you move out, that becomes 90% refundable. So you're going to get approximately $281,000 back. Again, doesn't matter what's happening in the community, doesn't matter the political environment, the retail environment, the market for homes, $280,000 is what you're going to get back. So taking kind of look at scenario two. So what if you stay in your home for 7 more years and then maybe move into independent living? For simplicity purposes, I just put a $312,000 value there. Depending on what happens, maybe you have to do standard repairs, upkeep to your house, $1,000 a year, we call it. So that's an extra $7,000 that you wouldn't have spent if you moved in. Typically, it's right around 6%, maybe 5% to a realtor when you sell your house. So you're losing $18,000 to $19,000. And then just inevitably, there always seems to be something that the future buyer wants out of your house. So, I just threw $1,500 in there for a fee there. So then you look at a net number of about $85,000. So, pretty similar to what you'd be getting back in scenario one if you did move in. So now that's kind of the best case scenario. So, but what about the what if? We eliminate the what if, as Kevin mentioned before, with some of the monthly fees, taking care of people for the life of their, the life that they live here at St. Camillus, and also guaranteeing that 90% comes back. But what if the market does go down? I used in scenario 3 a 5% decrease in the market value of a house. I can't exactly say, depending on where you lived, the value decrease that happened in a time like 2008, 2009, when we had a little bit of a downturn. 5%, that could be $15,000 to $16,000 off in that scenario. So you can see if there is a time where the market goes down, now your same $312,000 investment is down to roughly $270,000 in that scenario. So, really, again, it's pretty simple example just to point out that the 90% is what you're getting back to use for your care. Maybe your estate gets it, maybe your significant other gets it, whatnot. That is the amount that's going to be coming back no matter what. We had a question in the past. What do we use the entrance fees for, particularly with the new building? And a lot of that is determined by the type of financing that we need to do for a new construction. So a certain percentage goes to pay down the entrance fees. Pay down the temporary debt that we borrowed out. We also are required by investors to establish a debt service reserve fund. And this again is just some extra security both to investors, but also to residents, that this is extra funds that we've put away. We cannot touch these. These have to be used for a rainy day fund. If something happens and operations go down, and that is a fund set up to make sure that we can continue to pay our bills and remain financially sound. And then we also hold a little portion as cash to meet our covenants as well. So real quick, I think Kevin kind of talked about a life plan community, which is what we are. In that, really, the difference between these two and a life care community, which you might have heard of, is in a life plan community, the monthly fees increase as you kind of move through the continuum. With a life care community, that's more of kind of an insurance-like product. So it's a lot different with actuaries, and you pay a monthly fee that is more of a fixed amount. It's only subject to annual increases, but then you would have a consistent fee across all levels of care throughout the continuum. So that's not what we are. We're a life plan community. So just wanted to bring up that differential again. All right.
Thanks, Justin. As Justin was speaking and kind of going over the numbers, you can kind of see, based on some of the items that I mentioned earlier, that it's really an investment in your life, in your future, and with some security involved as well. So the monies that Justin was speaking about, that's really that investment in that piece. And when you're talking about St. Camillus, what are you getting for that? I think we have a wide variety of services that, if you ever need them, they're here. But also you can enjoy your time while you're here at St. Camillus. So it's really fixing your costs into the future as much as possible. You eliminate a lot of the uncertainty by also eliminating that risk of your home value. And then you're really investing into the community that you're going to be living in. And at St. Camillus, as I want to just reiterate, we've been serving with quality care in Wauwatosa since the 1930s. So we're not a new facility. We're not a place that just opened up where there's a lot of financial uncertainty in terms of a property that needs to get up to certain occupancy levels and so forth. But we've been here for a long time. Investors have seen that as well, and obviously gave us the money to build a product that we're talking about today in our East residence. And on the back of that, we're also supported and sponsored by a worldwide order of St. Camillus, which is based in over 60 different countries around the world. and have that security as well as that mission based, and we serve a lot of great needs around the world, as well as focus on healthcare around the world as well. And we measure ourselves, on various things as a life plan community. And when we look at ourselves on a national basis and local basis with similar type organizations, we score, when we look at some of our financial performances, in the top 25% of similar communities, and sometimes even in the top 10%. So we perform well. It was seen by the investors and people that look at our financials, and we're proud of that. And we financed the project at that time, back in, Justin, that was November, right? We went to financing end of November. That
Yep.
with the project that we're talking about, with at that time very historically low fixed interest rates. We're kind of back at that same point in time, but that won't last long. And so with that, we're able to do more with less, because we're paying out less interest into the future. And we are audited each year by CPAs, and are routinely monitored by outside agencies and banks. Actually, Justin uploads information every month, and every quarter we have calls with agencies to discuss our performance and so forth. And so they're invested in our financial performance as well. And so why is now the best time? And I think a lot of this might be a repeat as well, but you're able to pick the unit that you actually want. A lot of times when people come in to our current San Camilo or West residents, they have to wait for the unit to become available. And sometimes that is 2 to 3 years. And so sometimes they have to settle on that unit. This is an opportunity that, if it's available, you get to pick your unit. And you can make modifications on many of these units still. And it's much less costly to do so now than if you would wait. And then we're still locking into the introductory monthly service fees and entrance fees. And as the building becomes closer to opening up, these become a little bit more uncertain. So you're able to lock into these prices now. And home prices, are still very, very hot and historically high, with rates historically low, which creates a market for the seller's market. So you're able to, cash in on your home value at a good point in time. There's some unknown uncertainty of what that looks like into the far out future. In our practices and transparency during the pandemic, well, not only during the pandemic, I feel like we're always transparent and our practices are always consistent, but they really kind of showed during the pandemic that we're currently dealing with. We're going to be honest and straightforward and show what's going on in our community, because we believe that that's the best way to operate, and we will always do so. That's part of our values. And when you live at St. Camillus, you're part of the family, and you have the security that you're choosing a place that operates with good values and a sound financial judgment, and it'll be here for a long time. And it is, at St. Camillus, even though we're dealing with a lot during this time with the pandemic and other things, it's still an exciting time to see. It's a positive distraction to see the building come up. It's making great progress. It's decorated with Christmas lights. Right, Julie, that the construction team did. It's great to see, and it's fun to see your future home get built as well. I think that's a valuable time. So now I think we just went over the 30-minute mark, so I think we can open up for questions. And Julie, do we know how these come through?
Yep, I don't have any questions yet.
Okay.
But for the depositors who are on the phone or on the webinar, you will receive an invitation to a holiday Zoom party with other depositors, and a chef's dinner brought to your home, or you can pick it up and see the lights. You'll also have an opportunity to bring a friend to see the lights and do the drive-through, and also receive, you and your friend, a gift. The lights are spectacular. You can see them all the way from Waukesha. So I encourage you to do that. If you're not a depositor, if you received a card, then you're in our database. You also will receive an invitation to come through the construction site, see the lights, and receive a gift. After we're through, the next couple days, one of the senior living specialists will reach out to you and see if you've been questions. I do have a question.
Yep, I see that too.
I think they can probably
Wanna
see
read it
it.
off?
Yeah.
Can you see it, Kevin?
Yeah, I can see it, but you can read it off.
Okay. How long has Kevin been CEO and Justin been CFO? Has anything changed since they've been on board?
Well, I've been CEO for the last 4 years. So in October of 16, I became CEO. But previous to that, I was the CFO since 2005. So in total, I've been here over 15 years. And there's several things that have changed, which I'll go into the operations before I let Justin talk. But I used to have hair when I started. I'll say that. Justin?
Yeah, so I have been the CFO since 2016 as well, so a little over 4 years. I have been with St. Camillus for, I think you said 15, but I think it's probably getting closer to 17 now, something like that. But I joined quite a long time ago. I was the controller under Kevin for a significant portion of my career. So
Justin, I kind of went on.
A lot has changed. Yeah, a lot has changed on the campus. I mean, I think a lot of it for the good. I mean, we in 2000, losing my numbers here, 2018 was it?
Yeah, we opened it. Yeah.
Opened a brand new beautiful building for our memory care, and that replaced a building that was here for a long time. So there's been a lot of physical changes, but a lot of improvements to our programs on the campus that I've really seen.
Yeah, I would ditto what Justin just said. And actually, I've been here 20 years, Justin, but formally as an employee for 15. The first few years, I was a outside provider, still working on the campus. But to go along with Justin said, yeah, we did a very in-depth master site plan back probably in 2012. I think it started, which when I was the CFO at that time, and we really looked at the future use of the campus, knowing that we had the original building on our campus, which was built in 1930, that was still in operations for some of our assisted living and Jesuit residents. But then we also had one of the other original buildings that were built in the 50s and 60s as our memory care unit. And knowing that we needed to revitalize the campus with some new product and then just to ensure the viability of the campus for another 90 years, we went through that process, which resulted in what Justin talked, opening of our memory care and Jesuit building in 2018. And that building's on the Wisconsin Avenue side, so our north side of our campus, that's where that is. And that enabled us to continue with our master site plan to make room on our campus for this East residents, just to keep the product new and to make sure that we're growing and meeting the needs of the seniors in the future. That was one of the main things. And then over the years, we've expanded our home and community-based services. We started our hospice agency. Oh, is it 10 years now, Julie, maybe? It's hard to remember. Some time flies a little bit, but we started our hospice agency in 2010 approximately as well. And there's another couple of questions. You want to read them, Julie?
Sure. Can we share a copy of this information with others who may be interested in St. Camillus? Absolutely. And this entire webinar will be on our website, as well as past webinars.
Another question there.
Another question. How are you keeping the community feeling going? How are you keeping the community feeling going during the pandemic? At San Camilo, I think we're doing a very good job. We did survey our residents late summer to see if they felt we were doing a good job, and we got very high scores in the high 90s. Every Wednesday, we go door to door, the operational team, and visit each resident with some gift or some gesture. We have a wonderful program designed for December because we have no dining, we have no concerts, we have no parties, which will be different for our residents. So with Father Naveen and our team, we've come up with ways to celebrate Christmas in different and more special ways, giving back to the community, coming together as small groups. Yesterday, we went and Father Naveen blessed all of the trees at San Camilo, which was no small feat. So everything will be different, but we're hoping it'll still be a meaningful holiday season, and people will feel engaged and included and loved.
Yeah, and I would say that on the same side for their healthcare side of the building, where so we have to do extra precautions as well. We modified activities, make sure residents are involved in various things, and keeping groups small, keeping groups very separated, and just make sure that people are having that socialization that's so important during this time. It's been a challenge. I think the staff have risen to that challenge and have done a great job and doing the best job that they can. So.
Will this webinar and accompanying PowerPoint be uploaded to YouTube for future review? Yes, it'll be on YouTube and then also on the website. Do you have to be Catholic to live there? Do you have to be Christian? We are welcome to any and all faiths. Everybody is welcome and included. And we do have people from different walks of life, different religious backgrounds, different spiritual beliefs, and everyone is welcome.
Mm-hmm. Is there also? Oh yeah, there was. In the chat was the same question about sharing the information.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate everyone's time. I appreciate these very thoughtful questions as well.
I just want to close by saying that the East residents, and I know I have some depositors on, so I'm happy to see that. We have sold 115 units out of the 168. So that's a good chunk. Some of the styles are completely sold out. If you have friends, share the word. We are doing in-person visits in our welcome centers. You can touch and feel the finishes. We're doing virtual meetings. We also, our website is up to date with all the information we have. You can call and speak to a senior living specialist, or you could also have a packet mailed to you with all of the information. San Camilo, we are touring with appointments. So we are open, and we'd love to have you come and visit. Last call for questions. Okay, well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Justin. And thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Happy holidays.